Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to the channel. This is Fridays with Brandon, and today is episode number 2 of our real estate journey. Um, I'm going to go through today kind of pre-buying a property, but the things that I had to do to be ready to buy a property. And really that comes down to a budget. And budgets are not for the faint of heart, but they are critically important. So I'm going to share a little bit about how I did that and what that looked like in the first year and a half, and how I prioritized. You do have to be willing, if you're going to try to replace your income or be able to do 100% live off your real estate investments someday, then you are going to have to make sacrifices, especially at the beginning. So I'm going to jump into this a little bit. This is not a get rich quick kind of scheme. Like I said in the first video, it's probably going to take you about 10 years, but I think within 10 years, you can definitely replace anybody's income. You can probably do it much faster than that if you're older than I was, and older and in a different stage of life than I was. So I was right out of school. I had about $10,000 of school debt, which is not too much. And then I was blessed with a really great job. I was a salesperson, so I had a company vehicle and all the expenses paid from that. And I made decent money, I think. I think it was about 52,000, 55,000, something like that. That was my gross income. But with that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how frugal I was and the importance of it. So I've got my budget. I was very organized and had budgets even back in 2010, 2011. And I've kept all of these Excel documents over the years so I can actually look at them and look at the numbers for you guys and share them with you. But if I look back, I can see my monthly rent, because I had roommates, was $400 a month, which seems insane by today's standards. But just think 10 years from now, the rent you're paying, if you're getting a good deal, might seem insane too 10 years from now. So I had roommates. I also had a coworker that was making the same amount as I was, lived in Chicago, and he wanted to live the downtown lifestyle, wanted to live in a loft and everything else. And he was paying more to park his car every month, or about the same to park his car every month, than I was paying for all of my rent. So those are lifestyle changes that you can choose and that I did choose, and it made a huge difference. So wasn't paying that much in rent. I like money I actually got out to spend. Now I did have payments that I paid for college. I was paying back college. That wasn't a huge amount, $200 a month or so. But then uh, I got cash out every 2 weeks, and I only got $120 out to live on every 2 weeks. So that's $60 a week. That takes some serious discipline. Now, granted, I was traveling 2 to 3 nights a week, sometimes 4 nights a week, every week, and the company was paying for all my meals when I did that. So I was taking advantage of the job I had to maximize my return. But there's a lot of people that are going to take that money and they're going to go buy a new car, or they're going to buy new clothes, or they're going to go to some concerts or go out to the bars or whatever it might be. And I was very disciplined to not do those things either. So, what was my priority? Well, I wasn't married yet, and I thought maybe someday I would like to get married, and having an engagement ring that looks like I actually loved the girl would be important. So, I had two things that I was really saving for. One was real estate investing, and the other was an engagement ring. And so, of the first like full calendar year, so if you think of like a 12-month period, I was able to save about $11,000. And actually, from the moment I started at Fluke till when I purchased the first property, I was actually able to save, I think it was about 15 or $16,000, because I had to put just under $15,000 down. But in that same 12-month period, not only did I save the 11,000, but I also saved almost 3,500 for an engagement ring. So this kind of thing, having that discipline to save helps you have the capital to make your money work for you. And interestingly enough, capitalism requires capital to play the game. So you got to get some capital, and you're either going to have to borrow that capital or save the capital. I would advise that you go ahead and be frugal and save the capital, be diligent. You'll learn to respect that dollar even more, and then go ahead and go and invest. Um, but it was tight, right? And I was highly motivated, and I had a lot of focus on what this could look like if I really buckle down and I just save like crazy, because I had a vision. I had casted a vision for myself that I wanted to invest in real estate, and that if I could get this money set aside and I could get a 25% cash on cash return, if I would invested 15,000, let's call it 16,000 so I can do the math faster. If it was 16,000 at 25% cash on cash return, that meant I made $4,000 a year, or $1,000 a quarter, or $333 a month. That's significant. So I had that vision, and I was willing to sacrifice so that that next year I would have an additional revenue stream. And I think that's one thing that's going to take. And you guys might be in different situations. If you're older and if you've been in the workforce for a while and you've done the company match on your 401k, you can get a loan from your 401k and loan money against yourself. A lot of companies, at least when I was at Fluke, I could get a loan for 50,000. In one of our later investments, the one we did just before this one we purchased about a week ago, I took a $50,000 loan out for it. And that property is doing a cash on cash return of about 33%. So it was a fantastic deal to take $50,000 out of my 401k, pay 4 or 5% back to myself. I was going to get my own interest back and have it returned for you. So there are ways to get a hold of the money quicker if you're in a different stage of life than I was when I started. You have to remember, I was young, and because I had done Financial Peace University, they had preached, you do not do, you don't do credit cards. So I had no credit cards. So I had no credit. And that kind of fouled me up with my first purchase, because I just didn't have any credit. And because I didn't have any credit, I had to put 20% down versus traditional 5 or 10% down for your first time home buyer. But because I was diligent about saving, I was still able to make it happen. But I would encourage you that if you are thinking about getting into real estate, and most of you guys probably already have credit cards, but it is probably worthwhile to have a credit card, start putting your gas on it or whatever, and build that credit so that when you go to get a loan, you can have more favorable rates, and you can have potentially better terms as far as putting less down. That's the main thing I want to share with you guys this week. Sorry I was gone last week. We actually closed on a new warehouse last Wednesday, and it's a trucking and warehouse company as well. So if you're in Cincinnati and you need to store some pallets, let me know. Happy to get you guys a quote on that. But it's exciting times. I'm going to try to be more diligent about doing these videos every week. I will give you guys a tour of this investment and others in the future. But yeah, that's the next step in your journey. You're really going to need to be diligent about your budget. And me being diligent, and it wasn't just the first 2 years. We were very disciplined our whole marriage with the budget. But being disciplined about a budget is going to allow you to unlock the potential in your money that you never thought was possible. So anyways, have a great weekend, and we'll talk with you next week.